Hello everybody, Hunter here for episode 2 of this goofy podcast that I decided to start because I felt like it. Today's episode is going to be elementary school as someone who is still in school. So these are still like recent memories to me instead of kind of being like 20 years ago. Because, now that I'm done with all that kind of school and I'm with the big boys, it's kind of a fun thing to kind of reflect on this. We're going to go first through fifth grade because I know how my school district is kind of dumb. They do a K through fourth grade at elementary school. Then they have this intermediate school that's fifth and sixth. Then there's a middle school which is seventh and eighth, and then high school ninth through 12th. And it's really goofy because I never understood why they did it that way. They used to have a 6th through 8th building, but they don't do that anymore for some reason. Actually, no, I think it was a 5th through 8th building. Because I believe it even may have been a 3rd or 4th through 8th. Because if I remember correctly, a lot of the elementary schools didn't even go up to 4th grade. I think it was actually 2nd grade was where they ended at. But my school district has always been kind of weird, even though we have a lot of schools. We have a lot of schools for being such a goofy district. So, we're going to be going over memories from K through 5th grade, because I think 5th grade is the basic cutoff of a lot of elementary schools / primary schools, whatever you call them in your country. So I'm pretty much just going to kind of fabricate, not like, make up, but just kind of like pull out some memories that I've had chilling in the back of my mind that would be, kind of funny. I believe, because, like, elementary school is always kind of goofy to me. Some years were absolutely amazing. Like, 1st and 2nd grade are what I would almost consider, like, the golden years of elementary school. 3rd and 4th grade just kind of dropped off. Like, I did not like my 3rd and 4th grade teachers. Like, they really just did not like me, because here's the thing. I've always been the kid that just talks a lot and, like, jokes and goofs around. So, elementary school teachers did not take that lightly for some reason, which is funny because I get into later schools and like middle school teachers and they have not cared at all, bro. My last year, I genuinely don't think I got yelled at by a teacher like once at all, barely even mentioned. Elementary school, that was a 7 X occurrence per day. Like, it was just bad. So, I don't know if it was just me getting not as bad, or teachers just not really caring about the basic kind of goof around stuff that I do occasionally. It's probably a mixture of both, because I'm definitely not nearly as bad as I was a long time ago. But also the fact that teachers definitely have gotten a lot more chill with kind of basic, not really disturbing to the class, kind of just talking a little. But I think a lot of these stories are going to be kind of just goofy because of the fact that, like, it's from an elementary schooler's standpoint. But I remember a lot of times in 2nd grade, I would always be put up to the front of the class. Because that was the first year that we got computers. Now, they were Chromebooks. They were really bad Chromebooks from like 2013. This was 2017 at the time. So they were kind of bad, but I really liked them. But I always would goof around and search up random crap. Keep in mind, this podcast series is almost going to be my definition of like animation YouTubers or stickman YouTubers going over their kind of like childhoods and stuff. I can't draw worth crap. So it's better if I just tell you and you look at some nice info on my screen of my CPU and GPU. Some nice temperature readings, if you will. Because, I can't draw. So I might as well just explain my stories in the best way that I can, which is just literally not even a script, just talking. That is the best way I'm able to do just explaining fun stories. So 2nd grade, I would always be put up in like the front of the classroom because I would always be like on my Chromebook doing like really dumb stuff. Because me and my friends were into Minecraft a lot at the time. This was kind of when I hadn't first found out what Minecraft was. I found Minecraft in about 2015. kind of doesn't feel right that I've been playing the game for almost 10 years now. Because it feels weird, because when you get old enough, you might not even be old, but you'll already start to get these memories where you realize, dang, that was already a decade ago. That doesn't feel right, you know? That kind of stuff doesn't sit with you. Like, you might not be old, but you're old enough for that to feel old, you know? Because, like, the first console I ever got was a DS Lite, which I got 11 years ago. Like, that doesn't feel right, but that's long enough ago for it to feel, like, old, like, classic. I guess this almost also might kind of just, like, diverge into a childhood memories type thing. I'll have to go over it with, like, other friends, too, but... because that would be fun to do with multiple friends, but I feel like also kind of doing a solo one-sided experience of it would be really fun, too. Just because, like, I always remember, like, people going, like, man, like, 80s, like, cars, like, 80s, like, people that grew up in the 80s wanting, like, 80s and 70s cars, because, like, that's what they grew up with. It's, like, it's kind of weird, because the 2000s were not a great time for cars. I don't really like a lot of cars past the 90s. It's really hard for me to enjoy a car that was made after the 90s. I genuinely think there's only a couple, and ironically, one of them actually being a car that I want as my first car, which is like a 2004 Chevy Impala. Like, it's a car that my family used to have, so I know how the car is, and I really have always liked it. And I've always thought, man, that's a fun... It's a nice, just kind of point A to point B car, but I kind of like it. It looks nice. You can get the SS one, which, you know, it has some horsepower. It's kind of something to scoff at, but... you know, it's nothing that's not, you know, bad. It's a good car, and there's a, you know, with those LS and SS models, they're really reliable. They're known for being really good. So, like, there are very few cars past the 90s that I like being the fact that, like, there's, like, maybe the 2018 Honda Civic. I kind of like the hatchback and SI versions of that car. They look kind of nice, and especially there's, like, I think there's a green one that exists, and I really like that one. That one looks really nice. And at least with that, it would be a bit more fuel efficient, because first cars, you really want something that's just fuel efficient. You're 16 to 20. You're not going to have crazy money for gas, especially if you happen to buy a car that needs, like, not unleaded, so, you know, gas is kind of a premium. And especially in this day and age, buddy, gas is only getting more expensive, and we're going to eventually get to a day where gas cars are likely just going to be banned flat out, like, illegalized, which, that's going to be a weird day, but it'll likely happen. Either gas cars are going to get banned, or they're going to come up with some crazy zero-emission fuel. I'd love to see the latter, but I don't know how that's going to go with oil manufacturers and, you know, government agencies. Those two things are never a good combo, and, you know, compromise doesn't usually happen there. It's usually a flat-out something. So I don't like that thought, but it's always just kind of like, you know... The problem with not liking a lot of cars is just the fact that I have to find something that I like, but I need to find something that I like that's just not objectively just a bad car. Like, I have to be able to find something that actually is just, like, a good car, while also, like, actually, like, abiding by what I actually like from cars. Like, it has to be something that is, like, fuel efficient, but something that I also just generally enjoy using. Like, I don't want to buy a car that I just don't like, because something that I don't understand about a lot of people is people that are just like, oh yeah, I'll just get a car to go from, like, point A to point B, that stuff. But, like, the problem with that I see is the fact that it's like, if you're not a bad driver and you end up having that car for a while, that's a car that you could have potentially for a decade, maybe even two, if you're that good at maintaining them. Why would you want to get something that you don't like? You should get something that you don't like, therefore you're all around going to enjoy having it. And if you actually know how to and want to, you'll actually know how to, like, repair it, and you'll enjoy doing it. You'll actually want to keep that car around. I feel like if you have a car that you don't really like that much, broken part comes around, you're not going to care as much. You're not going to see that as a, you know, bad thing. You're just kind of going to be like, darn, I guess I gotta go get that part fixed. Like, I mean, of course, you know, any person's not gonna like a broken car part. But it's always just kind of like, I feel like you should care about what you're buying. It's just like a PC or anything that comes with the fact that you're going to be owning it for a while, and like anything that you're going to be owning for a while and that has value to it, that's like expensive, you should really be paying attention to what you are getting into. You shouldn't just be going into it, buying it, and expecting it to be all good. You should be heavily looking at it, you know, like, what are you actually getting into? What do people think about it? And don't do, like, heavily opinionated answers from people. Just get straight facts. Like, what does the car, like, actually do? What's its actual fuel efficiency? I mean, having fuel efficiency, that kind of depends. Because, you know, how does it actually, like, realistically, what does that actually end up making, you know, compared to a spec sheet? But I kind of got a little sidetracked there, but it's a podcast, so I don't really care. But like, it feels weird to see things that they're old now, but they don't feel old anymore. They just, like, they don't feel old, but they're not new anymore. Like, they haven't been new for a long time. Like, it just doesn't feel right to be able to look at, like, one of the weird things is to look at something that was manufactured the year you were born and realize that that thing is very not good compared to what we have nowadays. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since you were, like, 2 or 3, but the way everything has advanced around you reflects that it's been a while. Like, it doesn't feel like it, but it just has. So I think some goofy school stories that I have to tell would probably be 4th grade. So 4th grade was when I was starting to really get into like a lot of gaming, like a lot of online games that I could actually play with friends, like Fortnite and all that crap. Because I wasn't allowed to play Fortnite until I started 4th grade, I believe. I believe 2019 was the year that I was allowed to download Fortnite. And even then, it was on my Switch. It was not a great experience. But I remember that feeling of being able to have a game that you could actually connect with people. Now, here was the problem. I had a Switch and a PS4 at the time. Nobody I knew had even a PlayStation. People hated PlayStation at the time. This was elementary school in the 2010s. But here's the problem. It's mid to late 2010s. The 360 and PS3 were well gone. Nobody owned those consoles anymore. I mean, I had a PS3 until about 2018, but even then it had a broken disc tray, and I wasn't allowed to play those video games. You know, Metal Gear Solid and Call of Duty. I mean, I was allowed to play Call of Duty, mostly. But, you know. But I remember just being able to play some of those games that you could interact with. Now, again, like I said, it kind of sucked. I couldn't play with anyone because of the fact that nobody I knew had the console I played on because no one liked it. Everyone hated the PS4 for some reason. So it was always kind of weird. Because also, like, if you had a Switch, you just didn't say that. Like, you don't just say that you have a Switch, bro. It's like, you're in an elementary school classroom, you don't want to lose that, like, rep, almost. I feel like elementary school was always about this pseudo rep that you wanted to maintain. You didn't want to look like some goofball, some Dumbo. And, I mean, for the most part, I kind of cared about it, but I think the thing was, I tried to care about looking like a good person in front of the people that I knew would actually care about that. Like, if it's just the general, like, population of the grade, I didn't really care, which probably kind of reflects now. I don't know if I'm a very great person to most of the people in my grade, but, you know, like, I feel like I try to look like a decent person to the people that I know will care. To everyone else, just kind of like, I don't really care. I'll do what I please. Now, doing what I please kind of means, like, I'll just do what I think I should do, not, like, what I should do that will make me, you know, look better. It's just kind of like what I just generally do. But, like, yeah, it was always kind of weird. Because also, I feel like 4th grade was kind of my, like, the golden age of console gaming for me. Because 5th grade was when I got into PC gaming. And, of course, now I'm getting back into console gaming. But, of course, I'm not just going to randomly drop my PC and just completely go to my PS4. Because also now, the PS4 and Xbox One, they're getting outdated. Sure, the Xbox One X is still a powerful console. But the thing is, there's an Xbox Series right there. And especially the Series S, it's actually not an expensive console. It's like, what? I think it's like $250, $300 new. And, like, you can find them really cheap on eBay. They're not expensive consoles. I mean, yeah, you won't be able to own your games, which is my problem that I have with a lot of new consoles. I don't like being able to not own my games. If I can't just not be able to own my games, Steam kind of being the exception, like, you know, the PC being the exception, CD, DVD games for the PC just doesn't really exist anymore. You don't really just get that anymore. But, like, I trust Steam, you know? I feel like you can kind of trust a lot of PC manufacturers, except for, you know, the really bad game manufacturers. I feel like you can trust most of them with, you know, that kind of fact. But, like, if it's console gaming, it's gotta be physical. I don't like just buying a digital copy of something knowing I might not be able to play it later. I think the one exception to console physical gaming is, like, older consoles. Because, like, the 3DS, the Wii U, the 360, the PS3, they're not going to take those games away. They're not going to do what people are scared of game companies now doing. They're not going to do that with an old console. You download that game and it's pretty much an exe file on the hard drive of that console. It's not, you're not going to lose it unless you literally lose it, you know? Like, unless it's your fault, I don't think you're just going to lose that. So, like, I like to actually own my stuff. So, this was kind of the peak era of, like, my, like, console gaming. Like, it was, like, if you got home, like, the perfect conditions. I think anyone who likes games, it's mostly games because, you know, the situation is also going to include gaming. I feel like the perfect situation for someone that likes, like, gaming is, like, being in elementary school, getting home on Friday. It's, like, thunderstorming, you get that nice, like, rain, it's nice out, like, it's starting to turn fall, or it's, like, almost done being spring, where, like, it's not super humid out, it's nice and dry out, and it's also not super hot, just, like, you get that nice rain, and, like, you get home and, like, you're having, like, pizza for dinner, like, you're getting, like, some from a restaurant for dinner, and that feeling is insane. And, like, being able to get home and just play some video games, whether that be with you or your siblings, it's just such a good feeling. You like the feeling. You're waiting for it that whole day, bro. You know, doing that multiplication in math, you know, getting home and being able to just play games pretty much endlessly. Because here's also the thing. In elementary school, up until about 6th grade, I wasn't allowed to play games during the week. It was pretty much, that was a weekend thing. So when I got to the weekend, bro, it was surreal. I will say also, it did get boring sometimes. Once I started getting into 5th grade, it started to get boring sometimes, especially when I got my PC. Having a PC just sitting right there, that kind of hurts sometimes. I was like, oh, dude, what? I can't, like, play games even though I have, like, a gaming system right here. Sometimes I'd be allowed to play on my 2DS, because that was a very occasional thing. But sometimes I'd be allowed to play on my 2DS. Most days, not really. But I always just remember, like, getting home for the weekends and just being able to essentially just goof around. Like, it was crazy, just actually being able to do whatever I wanted for a little bit. Because, you know, with it only being the weekends, it's like, it's only going to be for a little bit, but, like, being able to just do whatever I want for a while, you know, being able to relax and actually wind down. Because also, 4th grade is when I would also kind of start to consider stress, like the whole school stress situation, to actually be a thing and not just kind of like a, man, how do people get stressed from school? It's like, dang, yeah, school, there's homework, there's, like, actually things involved with it, there's responsibilities. Because I've never liked school. I've always really not been a fond person of school. So school kind of got crappy for me really fast. Like, pretty much once second grade got done and, like, proper responsibility started to occur in, like, third grade, I really just did not enjoy it. I started to really kind of lose the fun in a lot of it. But I was able to kind of put up with it until about middle school. Middle school is where it kind of really just fell off. It was literally just, I enjoy the classes of subjects that I like, and that is it. I don't want to be here for the rest. But you got to deal with it, of course. You know, even if you don't like something, you still got to try. Or else, you know, with it being school, you're just kind of cooked. You're not going to be able to get into good classes, and colleges just might not like you if you're trying to go to college and crap. But, yeah, so then 5th grade rolls around. I think a good idea would be to go through all the grades. I think if we're going to go with an elementary school episode, we should go through the grades. Kindergarten. Kindergarten, I was allowed to play on my DS actually a lot during the weekdays. And it was really nice. I'd just be playing on my DS all the time, playing Mario Kart DS or New Super Mario Bros. DS. I always remember queuing up into the multiplayer lobby, the co-op mode of New Super Mario Bros. DS. You know, the one where you're like collecting stars and crap. I actually played that with my friend a lot. My friend Blake in 8th grade a lot. You know, you might actually be watching this video. What's up, Blake? But I always remember just thinking that I might find someone when it was Finding Luigi, even though it wasn't an internet mode, and even then my DS wasn't even connected to the internet. On kindergarten, I really only had my DS. I mean, the NES Classic Edition came out at the time, so I was always playing on that, and it was really fun. It wasn't really true console gaming at the time, but it was fun. Now, 2016 at the time, people still had, like what, 2015 to 2016? People still had the 360 and the PS3. Now, no one had the PS3. Like, it felt like it was a crime to have the PS3. But I actually knew people that still had, like, the 360. Like, I knew a lot of people that actually still had it. Like, most still had it. I feel like it was around 2nd grade to 3rd grade was when people were really starting to make the switch to where, like, almost everyone had the PS4 or Xbox One. Now, 1st grade, it was mostly the same, except I was actually starting to properly get good at some of those games. It wasn't brain dead goofing around in those games. It was sort of, you know, I wonder if I can actually start to progress in these games. This is when I might see my first situations of resetting a game file because I'm just completely stuck, so I want to start from new. You know that feeling when you first get a new game, you like start playing through the game and you realize you're kind of just in a dead spot. So it might be kind of convenient to just reset the save file, you know, with that newfound information, restart. I did that a lot with my summer car, trying to figure out how the combustion engine worked and just resetting the save file until I was eventually able to just build the whole car, and I figured out the game. I mean, that's also how my summer car works. You do a lot of save file resetting. You don't usually stick to a save file for too long anyways. But, you know, most of that goes around. The Super Nintendo Classic comes out around this time, I believe, and I get that, and that was really fun. It was more proper console gaming into a look to what was popular in the early 90s. It was really fun playing some of those early games and getting my first experience of console Mario Kart. It was nothing crazy, but it was console Mario Kart. And boy, did I love those Super Nintendo controllers. Super Nintendo controllers are amazing. I love those things. NES controllers were fun. I loved those controllers. It's just that this is an NES Classic thing. Those things were so short, bro. I'd have the NES Classic chilling on the TV, and I would have to sit right by the TV. 2nd grade comes around, and this is when I actually got the first taste of real console gaming. Like, my own console gaming. Because kindergarten, I had started going to a friend's house, and that's when he showed me his PS3, and we'd start playing games, like, all the time. It was really fun. It was, like, really fun. We'd always be playing games, like, I think we had Minecraft. That was when I got introduced to that. Black Ops 1 and 3. He had Gran Turismo 5. He didn't like Gran Turismo 5, but I loved Gran Turismo 5. I was like, this, like, racing game, it's so fun. Like, how do you not like this? And he's like, I'm just not in the cars. And I'm like, alright, that's kind of reasonable. But, you know, we had a lot of other games like Lego Star Wars. We played the crap out of Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. I eventually had gotten that on my DS a couple year or two later. And that was really fun, being able to play Lego Star Wars on the go. Pretty much the same as playing on like a console. It felt really amazing. It was really fun. I'm trying to remember if we had a lot of other games that we really touched. We had a lot of other really goofy games, but we'd always be watching like movies, like Transformers. The Transformers movies were so good. Like I think we actually watched all of the ones that were out at the time, like you know around 2018, like 4 or 5 times over, like all of them. They were so good, and I think we watched Avatar one time. I don't remember a lot from that, but it was pretty good. Now, as a 4th grader, not a lot of it made sense, but it was a good movie. And I always remember he had a boat in his backyard, and we'd always just sit in it and talk. It was really fun. I remember eventually when he started to get into Fortnite. Now, he didn't really have internet, so he's never able to actually play it, but he liked the concept of Fortnite a lot. He really wanted to play it. But his parents weren't too fond of it. But I always remembered we would play like a pseudo Fortnite game because he had tons. He had like actual tons of Nerf guns. Like I feel like this was every kid's like thing. They just had Nerf guns. You just always had Nerf guns. It was a crime if you didn't. If you didn't have a whole closet or basement filled with them. Like my closet, it doesn't have a lot of stuff in it, but one of the big things it does have. Actually, no, it's not my closet anymore. It's like my hallway outside my closet. It's just Nerf guns. A whole giant Tupperware, or tub pretty much at that point. It graduated to just Nerf guns. I still really like Nerf guns. Like, there's this really cool modded one that someone made where it's literally just a, it's like their gold pump pretty much. The Spaz. It's pretty much just a Spaz 12. Like, it's a really realistic Spaz 12. And it's really cool. I really want to buy one. It's a Nerf gun, of course, you know, no crap. But it'd be so fun to have one. He even had a BB gun. It was just like a, you know, lever action BB gun. It was pretty fun. We would always just try to, like, target practice a random tree stump in his yard. Or see if you could happen to snipe a bird, which I think I actually did once. That was funny. Now I remember, 2nd grade comes around and I got a PS4 for Christmas. That was crazy, actually being able to play Minecraft at home. No longer did I have to wait to go to his house to play Minecraft. Like, I remember that was, like, actually kind of weird. Like, I don't have that situation very often anymore where it's a game that I have to wait to go to a friend's house to be able to play. Like, that's a very rare thing to see anymore. And when you're in like elementary school, that's almost every game you like. Minecraft only could do that at a friend's house. COD could only do that at a friend's house. And even with COD, it took a couple more years before I was actually allowed to play COD games at my house. It was mostly just like, yeah, you can go play it at your friend's house, but we don't want it here. Like it would be a little bit longer till I got like COD. But I remember at the time I was really getting into Mega Man. On the NES Classic, they ported Mega Man 2 to it, and I loved that game. The NES like shooter games, not like, you know, Contra shooter games, like really hard ones, but the whole boss rush shooter games where you got to make it through a level and fight like a boss. I loved the whole concept of it. I remember when I eventually beat Mega Man 2, it was crazy actually being able to beat like an NES game that was considered hard to like an 8-year-old. It felt crazy just being able to do that. It was so fun. And eventually I beat like Super Mario World, and I would like unlock Rainbow Road on Super Mario Kart. That was a little more recently just because Super Mario Kart is just actually hard. But I always remembered like beating some of those like NES and Super Nintendo games, and it felt crazy. It's always kind of weird. Like I will sometimes call it like a SNES. Not often, but I will sometimes call it. What I really don't get is people that call it the NES, like the NES, the NES. I guess some European people do it apparently, but I don't understand that one. That one's a little weird. But yeah, second grade was my first taste of being able to play with friends' house games at home. Like, it was crazy just being able to do that. Third grade was a lot of branching out. Like, now that I have a console, and now actually with 2018, I'd gotten a Switch. That was really fun because I'd always been more of a Nintendo person. I loved playing Mario games. Maybe it was just because they appealed more to being a like literal 8-year-old, but getting COD games the next year and eventually getting into Warzone in fourth grade. I don't know what that's supposed to say. But yeah, not too much to say about the Switch in third grade. It's more so summer of 2020 that I'd really get into the Switch. So we've still got a bit. Because some of the summer years, I think once you get into third grade, summer years are going to start to become more important. Summer years before had mostly just been you go to a friend's house to do physical activities. Not much gaming, you go outside. You went outside to goof around, throw crab apples at the road. That was really fun. I always remember goofing around with crab apples. Bro, we made so many dumb things with those, randomly throwing them. Like, throw it up and see how big it fragments. Throw it into the road and see if a car runs it over, bro. Those games were so fun. I remember there's a dentist office across the road. I remember we watched it get renovated one year, and that was really fun for some reason, watching workers do random crap. Which was actually kind of funny, because that was the dentist office that I went to, and I remember it actually really sucked. I had a dentist appointment there once, and I remember just hearing, like, a random power drill go off every, like, 2-3 minutes. It was just like, I just hated it, bro, because I've always hated loud noises. I've gotten a little better with it now. Band, I feel like, kind of teaches you how to get better with, like, loud noises. And I feel like as you get older, you get a brief, like, kind of, like, decade or two in your life where you just kind of handle loud noises better. Hand dryers still absolutely murder my ears, and, like, sirens. I still hate sirens and that crap. It's like it, like, literally scares me. It's just genuinely, it's just actual ear pain. But I remember, like, third grade, it was kind of just, like, branching out, finding what I like. Getting games like Lego World, like, branching out with the Lego games. Like, buying things like Lego Worlds. And also, summer of 2017 was when I got my 2DS, so I was now introduced into the world of 3DS games. Playing games like New Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario Kart 7, seeing, like, it kind of felt weird, because a lot of these games are almost direct upgrades to the DS games, so almost kind of just, it literally just felt like a sequel, like, it felt like I was playing, like, just a sequel for some of these games, so it was really fun, because also, I was still able to play my DS games on my 2DS. It was really fun being able to do a lot of those things. Now, of course, I don't have that 2DS anymore, someone broke it. Fun. Thanks, Nathan. Or Nate, you goober. I'm not mad at you, I don't really care. But I remember just branching out in a lot of those games. Now, summer of third grade, whatever year that was, I believe it would have been 2019, I think. But I remember it was like literally my schedule for summer of that year. Wake up, eat breakfast, play Lego Worlds, go play in my pool until I wasn't allowed to anymore, play Lego Worlds, eat dinner, watch Netflix, go to bed. That was actually like my routine, bro. I remember. I loved it. It was so fun. Then we get fourth grade. Fourth grade was kind of like I explained before. Fourth grade was when I was starting to actually be allowed to play online games. Like, Fortnite, I started to really get into Fortnite on my Switch. I didn't get it on my PS4 yet, but I got Fortnite and I started playing those games. I was not allowed to touch like the eShop or the online stores. I remember buying Fortnite for PS4 and a GameStop, and it was just like the digital, like a skin pack for it. And I was like, man, this is nice. I can finally play Fortnite now, even though I could have downloaded it like a long time ago. But yeah, playing some of those OG events, like I kind of remember being able to, like I have some really OG stuff on my Switch account. It's mostly my brother's, but technically it is my account. Wahoo. it's still King Noob 5190 0, you know. Don't add that, probably. I don't know if you still care. My brother only plays it from time to time. But, like, yeah, I always remember just being able to play those online games, and it was really fun. Summer of 2020 rolls around, of course, pandemic occurs, and all that crap. That was when I just started to lock in on, like, video games being my full-time thing. Because of the fact that pretty much our school ended pretty much after the end of March. Like, we did some finalized stuff, and it was very relaxed things. Like, barely any homework, barely any lessons. It was pretty much just early summer break. Like, from March to August was literally the summer break that year. Yeah, like, literally having, like, almost 3 extra months popped on. It was crazy. That also may have been what started my hatred for math, because of the fact that it just started to not make any sense. If, like, videos, I'm really bad at picking up on info in videos, so videos just did not help me, and I just started to really suck at math. But I just remember... But I just always remember playing a lot of online games. 5th grade... 5th grade, I think that was when I started getting into PC gaming. I got my laptop that year, and I played games like Among Us, of course, because, you know, 2020, the year of Among Us at that point, you might as well call it. I played a lot of Among Us, and I played a lot of Kerbal Space Program. That was the year that I got Kerbal Space Program. And I just went crazy on Kerbal Space Program. Like, I have over, like, what, 3,000 hours on it now? Like, it's actually crazy. But, yeah, it was really fun getting a lot of those games. And now, of course, I didn't buy a lot of those games. But, I'd also decided to start a YouTube channel around this time. It was this YouTube channel. And it was kind of, you know, it was kind of fun. I just goofed around with it, posting random gaming videos and all that crap. And then 6th grade comes around. 6th grade is kind of a two-parter. It was realizing that I now can get money to buy my own consoles and switching it around and all that stuff. Like switching around what I actually want to do. Now, the first part of it was really starting to lock in on my YouTube channel. Like, I really just started to kind of lock in on what I wanted to do with YouTube. I wanted to do gaming at the time, so I think I was still named HunterTheKerbal. And later I had to change it a bunch of times because I realized Kerbal might be, you know, not good to Private Division, the owner of the game at the time. I could probably easily switch back to HunterTheKerbal now with, you know, Kerbal Space Program and stuff. But Hunter's Tech already makes sense because we do tech videos around these parts. Not often, but I've got some good ones coming up, hopefully. Because I've got a bunch of mods laid out for my PS2 and some fun things that I really want to be able to do eventually. Also, I got some coming for my phone. So, I remember being able to actually start to possess some money. I had sold off a bunch of games and random console stuff in, like, March of 6th grade. I also sold the NES and Super Nintendo Classics. That's kind of like the end of that era. I haven't had a lot of end eras, I guess, really just the DS, my original 2DS, because I can still play DS games, and I can still play 2DS games, because I love the 2DS, but those original console, those eras are kind of shut off. The PS3, the Wii, even though I wasn't allowed to play those. I think the real actual end of era thing that I ever had was those classic consoles, because now I don't really play a lot of those games anymore. I touch the virtual, like the online store occasionally, but not a lot. And then later it was like, wow, I can buy my own consoles. I bought a 360 Slim with Halo Reach and Burnout Revenge. And those games were so fun to play. I really liked getting into console games. And that was what made me realize, dang, PC games are good, but it's good to keep a balance. Playing both are kind of like necessary. Playing these fun games that just play better with controllers, but also playing these games that just run better on PC. And then 7th grade, we get into middle school. And this was when I really just kind of got into my kind of neutral phase of stuff. I'm still pretty much in it right now. It's kind of like current day almost. But like, cause like elementary school, it was pretty much console is the GOAT, PC doo-doo balls. Most of 5th and 6th grade, it was, man, PC's goated. Why would I ever want a console? And then end of 6th grade, not really end of 6th grade, because I still kind of like PCs more. And then 7th to now, it's kind of just like, having both are good. You gotta realize, it's pretty much just find the games you like and buy the consoles they play on. That's actually kind of just how it goes for me. It's literally just find games you like, buy the consoles they play on. The consoles are almost the minor part, even though they're the more expensive part, technically. It's almost just like, it's honestly almost just like a minor thing to you at this point. It's kind of funny. But, 7th grade was when I started to just really not care. It was just kind of like, I'll play the games that I like, and I just don't really care. I had a 360. It took until the end of that year until I got my PS2, my original PS2. And I remember getting those games, and it was really fun. I liked having the PS2. It was a fun console to play on. Got Gran Turismo 3 and Madden 05. I played more Madden at the time because I loved playing Madden games. I had like a stint in 2022 of playing a lot of sports games. I got into like NHL, Madden. I really only touch those games now. They're still fun to play, but I only really just kind of touch them now. The real sports game I play now is pretty much racing. But yeah, 7th grade was kind of figuring out that both is good. Both are fun to do, and, you know, they're both really good to play. So, you know, why not just play both? It's not hard, you know. If it's not hard, then why not just do it? So, and then last year, 8th grade, it was really just kind of figuring out what consoles do I want later in life, and how am I going to achieve that? I have a PS2, I have a 360, I have a PC, I have a way to get 3DS consoles. I'm eventually about to get my hands on a Wii U. I'll make a video on that. It's pretty much just what consoles and games do I really want? Alright, find those, put a way to buy those consoles and games, and then put it into action. Like, it's pretty much just find the things you want and put it into action immediately. Like, if you want something, you gotta work towards it immediately. That was pretty much how it immediately became. It was pretty much find what I want and try to buy it as soon as possible. It's a weird way to think about it, but in the mindset of an 8th grader, that just kind of works. So, of course, so far this summer, it's just been kind of like enjoying the games I have and goofing around. Because also, on the PC game side of 8th grade, it was starting to try out some of the newer games, trying to try out some of the games that people really like. I kind of got back into Minecraft a bit that year. I started to get into a lot more games. Like, eventually we got Lethal Company. I started to pick up Fortnite a lot in middle school, but then I kind of already dropped it again. But, you know, I started to pick up on a lot more modern games that people really like. So I've always been more of an older games fan. Not like old, but just like kind of like early 2010s, 2000s old. Maybe some late 90s. I had always been that kind of era of games fan. But yeah. So trying out a lot of newer games. And this summer it's been a little more of the same. Playing Lethal Company a lot. We've got some other games in mind, like Content Warning. It looks pretty fun. But yeah, that's kind of like the plan with a lot of that stuff. In the future, I really want to get a GameCube. Getting a lot of those games is expensive, though. Some are, you know, more obtainable, but some are pretty expensive. So I'm kind of like hyped to be able to get maybe some of those consoles. But also the way I do, the way I kind of view my YouTube channel has changed a lot too. I'll save this for another podcast, but The way I kind of view my channel now is definitely different than when I made it. Initially, it was just getting my videos out to people because it would be kind of fun. Now, no one really wanted to listen to a 5th grader talk, so no one actually really watched the videos. It's a little different now, not really, kind of. But it's completely changed now. Gaming is pretty much exclusive to streaming now. And, like, the tech, it's tech now. It's been tech for about a year and a half now, I believe. Like, I can really start to look at it. My first real... Where were my first real gaming... My first real tech videos? I think my first real tech video would have been... Let me look. I'm looking right now. I think my first real tech video would have been the 360 video. Unboxing... Actually, no, never mind. I know what the first real tech video was. I had gotten an old... I got my old keyboard... And I literally put my Chromebook, my school Chromebook, into a spot where it could record. And I just started, like, fixing it. And now, of course, literally a couple days later, I got my first phone. So that was kind of big. I really liked that. And I was able to just start, like, vlogging pretty much. I'll have to do another video on that stuff too, but like the way I've actually been able to kind of like do my content too, that will definitely be a pretty long, that one's definitely going to be a longer podcast. But for now, I think I'll be seeing you guys later. This is a pretty good one. It was kind of all over the place, but I feel like I still kind of put out a good quality video. I tried to stay on. Like, I tried to stop literally just going, for a good amount of time. Hopefully you enjoyed random Core Temp and MSI Afterburner. But I'll be seeing you guys next week. Sorry for getting this one out a little late. I was almost thinking about not doing it tonight because of the fact that I'm, like, really tired right now. Like, I'm pooped right now. GoFest is going on, and I've just been battered. So, I've been, just kind of like cooked, and I kind of forgot to do it because I was going to be completely gone Friday, so I had to do it Thursday, and I kind of just forgot about it, so, that was that. But yeah, that was going on, and, yeah, I think that's all I got to say. So, yeah, I'll be seeing you guys later. Goodbye.